Hello students, welcome back to our discussion of Chapter 12, Entering a Foreign Market. Um, so evaluating the level of risk, as it says there, some countries, China, India, large risk, but of course there's a potential long-term um, great payout for that as well. Let's go into major chunk of this chapter is looking at the different um, ways you can enter a foreign market, the advantages and disadvantages of each, and at the end we'll discuss, based on your core competency, what method or mode of entry is probably most preferred. So there are 6 different ways we will discuss that firms can use to enter a foreign market. Exporting, most common, it's a common first step for many manufacturing firms, where they just start sending a few of their products across a border. Um, it's the easiest one to set up. Later on, if firms are doing well or have a lot of business in exporting products, they may actually switch to a different mode. They may switch to actually having some type of company, department, or factory entity in that foreign market. But as it says there, it has 2 distinct advantages. It avoids the often substantial costs of establishing an operation in that host country, and exporting helps you learn a few things about doing business in a foreign economy, foreign market. So exporting is attractive generally because it avoids those costs, those substantial costs, and it helps firm kind of learn as they're doing. It is there's some disadvantages. So it has a couple drawbacks. It's unattractive because you may be sending products into a country that has a lower cost manufacturing location or ability. So it would be better for you to set up an operation there as sooner than possible, so you could go into that lower cost manufacturing location. High transportation costs and tariffs may make it uneconomical. When you're sending just a few items, probably not a big deal, but the more you send, the more those transportation costs and other types of trade barriers get in the way. Agents in that foreign country may not act in your best interest. They may be there just to receive the product and to send it off to some type of retail outlet or business, and they might not really have your best interests at heart. So there are some divided loyalties, perhaps. The second type of entry mode is a turnkey project. Basically, as it says there, it occurs when that contractor handles all details of a project for the foreign client, including training of the operating personnel. So basically, some contractors are going to go into that foreign market, build the factory, for example, train the personnel in how to run different parts of the equipment, and then at the very end they hand the key, the contractor gets paid, they walk away, and really there's no other transactions after that. So turnkey projects are attractive because you're earning significant economic returns from your know-how that you've gained along the way, required to assemble and run some type of complex process. Less risky than conventional foreign direct investment. You're going in there, there's a start date, there's an end date. As soon as your project is done, you built that factory, you're gone. Unattractive because you, as that firm, you have no long-term interest in that foreign country. The firm you may actually create a competitor, depending on type of factory you're setting up. Um, you may be selling some type of competitive advantage to potential or actual competitors as well. A license. It's an arrangement where the licensor grants the rights to intangible property to another entity, the licensee, for a specified period, and in return, the licensor receives that royalty fee. So this is attractive because the firm avoids developmental costs and risks associated with opening a foreign market. You basically just pick someone in that foreign market with a certain level of trust, and you give them permission, a license to produce and to sell your product. So you don't have to set up anything. There's no developmental costs. You avoid any kind of barriers to investment. The firm can capitalize on market opportunities without developing those applications yourself. So you got an attractive foreign market, find someone in there that you trust, and offer them that license. So it's unattractive because you lose control, tight control, as you give that license. It's unattractive as well because the firm's ability to coordinate strategic moves across the country, across various countries, is limited, and you are giving away even proprietary or intangible assets could be lost. Like once the specified period is over, what's stopping that foreign entity to continue making and selling that product? They may not have the legal license to do so, but they have the know-how to do so. As it says there, it's often associated with franchising internationally known restaurant chains. Getting into the other mode of entry, franchise. Oops. Boston Pizza. It's come a long way from its 1964 Edmonton beginnings. A lot of people think it's an American company, but it's actually founded in Edmonton. They just use the name Boston because I guess it's better than Edmonton Pizza. So, as it says there, it's a specialized form of licensing in which that franchisor not only sells that intangible property, normally a trademark, to the franchisee, but also insists that the franchisee agrees to abide by strict rules as to how the business is conducted. So it is attractive because it avoids the costs and risks of opening up a foreign market. You can quickly build a global presence because you find people in that foreign market, once again, you trust, and or they have interest in your business, and instead of licensing it, you offer a franchise, so you gain some control. Franchising is unattractive because it inhibits the firm's ability to take profits out of one country to support competitive attacks or decisions in another. There are some global restrictions in terms of how much profits can come out of one country back to the home office or back to be used in other places. Of course, if the franchise is in areas that are quite separated from that home franchise, it can make it difficult to detect poor quality. So joint ventures. Joint ventures basically entails establishing a firm that is jointly owned by two or more otherwise independent firms. So you are establishing, basically creating another company to to pursue different opportunities. So there are commonly two types of these joint ventures: cooperative joint ventures and equity joint ventures. The textbook goes into some detail about both. I've never seen questions on the exam specific to those two types, but even a multiple choice question at the very least, but nothing more significant than that. So basically, this is just a partnership between two companies, but they've created. Sometimes they can create that new business, new firm. So textbook goes into cooperative joint ventures. Quite common with large size companies seeking positions in emerging markets. So the relationship does not include financial sharing of ownership in that third entity. Whereas the equity joint venture, the parties share ownership of a jointly held subsidiary, often used when it is expected that by holding that subsidiary, the partners can achieve a profit beyond what they could have done separately. So two different types of joint ventures, but for what we're interested in, we're just looking at advantages and disadvantages of the different modes of entry. So the advantages for a joint venture, basically significant because you are sharing costs and risks with a local partner. And in some areas, in some countries, that joint venture is the only feasible entry mode. I know in the United Arab Emirates you had to have a local business partnership if you wanted to establish a business in that country. So it's also attractive because you benefit from the local partner's knowledge of the market, culture, language, political system, business systems. The costs and risks are shared. Would be some good advantages. Disadvantages. One firm may give up more of its technology to the partner. Any type of shared arrangement can also lead to conflicts and battles for control. So you do give up, one firm may give up control of some of its technology. The other firm may give up something else as well. Or the other firm may be the one who is in that foreign market and is given the benefit of having that experience in that foreign market. So let's go into the next one we'll talk about is wholly owned subsidiaries. This basically occurs when the firm owns 100% of the stock. So it's wholly owned by the company in that foreign market. It is attractive because it reduces the risk of losing control over core competencies because you don't have a partner. You're not giving a license or franchise out to anyone else. You're going in there setting up that own factory, for example, yourself. So this could be done by either the greenfield venture or through acquisitions, like Canadian Tire acquiring White Stores, Target acquiring Zellers, or it could be a wholly owned subsidiary going into the new market and setting up something from start. It's attractive because you have tight control over everything. It's unattractive because you bear the full cost and risk of setting up overseas operations. So it can be more expensive, and if it's not done right, there's significant risks involved. The next slide, we just there to summarize some of the advantages and disadvantages of the 6 modes of entry. And we'll stop there. We'll continue on the last few slides in the next video.